Welcome to the deep dive. If you've spent any time online lately, you've definitely seen it. Viral rap music. You know, those tracks that just seem to explode out of nowhere, catchy hooks filling your feed, suddenly they're everywhere. Today, we're going to unpack how that actually happens in 2025. We've got some really interesting source material to work with. It's an article from back in January called Future Flow, Making Viral Rap in 2025 with AI and Data, and it's from BeatStorePwn.
Yeah, this source is like a real window into how virality isn't just, luck anymore. It's much more strategic. It really gets into this blend of cutting edge tech and really understanding audience behavior.
Exactly. So our mission today is to take this article, pull out the most important bits, the real must-know insights, and basically give you the shortcut to understanding the science, the tech, and the hacks that are making rap go viral right now. So what does this article tell us is like fundamentally changing how hits get made? Let's dig in.
Okay, so the article kicks off making one thing crystal clear. Social media platforms, they aren't just places to promote anymore, they're the actual launch pads. Right. They're the engine rooms for making something blow up.
Yeah.
The source really highlights TikTok, Instagram Reels, YouTube Shorts as, well, absolutely essential tools. But it stresses it's not just about being there. You have to get how each one works.
Yeah.
What makes stuff spread on that specific platform.
Okay, let's zero in on TikTok first then, because the article really seems to point to it as the main launch pad. What's the secret sauce there, according to the source?
Well, for TikTok, it really boils down to those first few seconds and making the content usable by other people. You need these incredibly catchy hooks, these choruses designed specifically so people can make their own stuff with it. Dance challenges, lip syncing.
Like backgrounds. Yeah?
Exactly. And jumping on trends or even starting your own challenge gives you visibility in that massive content stream. Oh, and collaborations. Working with influencers who already have big followings there. That's presented as a direct path to getting your sound out there, tapping into their audience.
Huh. So it's less about just your song and more about how your song helps other people make content. That makes sense. What about Instagram Reels then? How's that different?
Reels, the article suggests, leans more into visual storytelling and showing a personality. Syncing your lyrics directly with real compelling visuals that makes the track stickier, more memorable in that format.
Mm-hmm.
And using the right hashtags, the trending ones, helps people find it. Plus, actively encouraging your followers to make their own reels with your audio that turns listeners into promoters, essentially.
Okay, and YouTube Shorts. That platform's got massive reach, too.
Exactly. Massive reach. For Shorts, the article points towards optimizing for YouTube search and its recommendation algorithms.
Mm-hmm.
So you need strong, really eye-catching thumbnails and titles that make people click.
Right.
Cross-promoting your Shorts on your other socials, linking back to the full track on YouTube that drives traffic. And like with all these platforms, engaging in the comments, building that community, the article says that really pays off for long-term engagement.
And the article insists you need to be watching the numbers, like constantly tracking metrics across all of them.
Oh, absolutely. It really emphasizes monitoring what it calls virality metrics. Things like engagement rates, how many likes, shares, comments you're actually getting.
Uh-huh.
Playback numbers, obviously, that's a direct measure, especially looking for those rapid spikes. And really understanding your audience demographics. Who's listening? Where are they? What are their habits?
Yep.
That lets you tailor everything, your content, your release strategy. Monitoring this stuff gives you that real-time feedback loop.
To see what's hitting and what's not.
Precisely.
Yep.
So you can adjust on the fly.
Okay, now here's where it gets maybe really interesting, a bit futuristic even. The article talks about AI, not just for marketing, but for the creation of the music itself. AI beats, AI lyrics.
Yeah, this is a major point the source makes about where things are in 2025. Tools like Suno, which can generate, whole songs from just text prompts, and other deep learning models are definitely changing beat production. They can create unique beats incredibly fast, offers this huge range of sounds an artist might not normally access. The big pluses are speed and creative exploration.
But is it just push a button, get a beat? Is that what the article implies?
Not really, no. It suggests artists are integrating these tools. So they're experimenting with different AI styles, but also, importantly, layering AI beats with traditional instruments, to add that human feel, that depth, and then refining the AI output based on their own artistic vision.
Okay.
It's presented very much as AI being a powerful tool in the creative kit, not like a replacement for the artist.
And AI writing lyrics. I mean, that feels like it gets right to the core of, artistic expression.
It definitely brings up some big questions, yeah. The article mentions tools like OpenAI's GVT models or even Suno's own text-to-song AI being used for lyrics. The idea presented is that AI can act as a sort of creative partner. Maybe it gives you starting points, suggests rhymes, some concepts, or even drafts verses that the artist then takes and runs with.
But how does an artist keep their own voice in all that? Does the article address that?
That's crucial, and yes, it does. The source really emphasizes personalization. Artists need to take whatever the AI spits out and heavily edit it, rewrite it, refine it. They have to inject their own unique experiences, their specific way of telling stories, and make sure the tone, the style, it all fits their brand, their identity.
Right.
So the clear message seems to be, AI enhances, it offers new paths, but the human artist is still the essential filter, the curator, the one ensuring it feels authentic.
Okay, so we've got social media as the stage, AI as this new powerful creative tool. But the article makes a really strong case that none of this works effectively without really understanding the data.
Yeah, this is where the science part really kicks in, like you said earlier. In this digital age, data isn't just for the marketing team anymore. It's actively shaping creative choices. Artists are analyzing current music trends, like what genres or subgenres are popping. Maybe specific trap beat variations, for instance. What themes or topics are hitting home with listeners emotionally or culturally right now.
And they're using serious tools for this, not just guessing.
Oh, absolutely. The source explicitly names things like Spotify for Artists, Apple Music Analytics, Google Trends. These are presented as essential. These platforms give insights into listener demographics, who's listening, where they are, and how they listen, like their habits. And critically, they track engagement metrics. Play counts, sure, but also skip rates that tells you if people are losing interest mid-song and how often tracks get added to playlists. Super important signals.
Wow. And there's even a mention of predictive analytics, using data to see the future.
Sort of, yeah. It's fascinating. Predictive analytics uses all that historical listening data, those trend patterns, to try and forecast future shifts in taste or to identify maybe an emerging sound that's about to break through. It helps artists, potentially, anticipate market changes and maybe adjust their sound or the release plan before a trend becomes totally saturated. Kind of like trying to catch the wave early.
So it's less about just writing music in a vacuum and more like this continuous feedback loop. Data tells you what might work, you create, you release, you see the data, you adjust.
Precisely. That's the picture the article paints. Integrating data means setting clear, maybe measurable goals before you even start creating or planning a release. It might even involve working with data analysts to really dig into what the numbers mean. And it's definitely about iterating, constantly tweaking your sound, your content style, your promotion, based on how the last thing performed according to the data. It's a cycle.
Okay, so beyond the tech and the data crunching, the article also gets back to some practical strategies, the basics of crafting content that people actually want to engage with and share.
Right, this brings it back to the core of good songwriting, but like viewed through the lens of these platforms. Storytelling in lyrics is highlighted, making the music relatable, compelling on a human level. And those memorable hooks and choruses we talked about for TikTok, the article says they're basically the engine of shareability everywhere. They stick in your head, they're easy to grab onto for short video clips.
And optimizing specifically for shareability. How does the article suggest doing that, practically speaking?
Well, one key thing mentioned is investing in high-quality production.
Yeah.
Just a clean, punchy mix sounds better, and people are more likely to share something that sounds professional.
Makes sense.
But just as important, it says, is creating those short, impactful segments, snippets of your song, specifically designed for platforms like TikTok and Reels. Those are the moments engineered to catch fire.
And building that overall online presence, still vital.
Foundational, according to the source. Consistent activity on social media, sharing behind-the-scenes stuff, actually talking with fans that build your community. Diversifying your content beyond just the track itself is also key. Music videos, yeah, but also lyric videos, maybe interviews, Q&As, just giving fans more ways to connect.
And collaborations haven't gone away as a major strategy.
Nope, absolutely vital still. Featuring other artists gets you in front of their fan base, sparks new creative ideas. And engaging with social media influencers, the right ones, who genuinely fit your vibe and audience is framed as a really powerful way to push your music out to potentially millions fast.
Then the article takes another interesting turn, looking at how AI is used after the song's done, not just for making it, but for connecting with listeners.
Yeah, this is where AI starts impacting that artist-listener relationship directly. For instance, the source talks about AI being used for highly personalized marketing, like analyzing listener data to target ads for your music very specifically to certain demographics, or even individuals based on their listening history. Or even personalizing the content experience itself for different fan groups.
Personalized marketing, I get that.
Right.
But AI for actual fan engagement, how does that work? What does the article say?
It mentions things like using chatbots or virtual assistants. They can give instant answers to common fan questions on an artist's website or socials, just making things smoother. AI can also apparently help create more interactive content, maybe personalized playlists based on what a fan usually listens to, or dynamic visuals that react somehow.
And the live performance angle. AI-enhanced shows, you mentioned that earlier.
That definitely sounds like 2025 tech, doesn't it? The article touches on real-time visuals and effects that react to the music, maybe even the crowd's energy.
Wow.
And leveraging AI within VR or AR experiences to offer fans these really immersive virtual concerts, potentially reaching a global audience all at once in a way traditional tours just can't.
To make all this more concrete, the article gives a couple of case studies from 2025. First up, Future Flow by someone called DJ Nova.
Right, this is presented as a kind of prime example of that AI-human collaboration we were talking about. Apparently, DJ Nova combined beats generated by AI with his own lyrics and vocals, written and performed by him. The track then took off mainly through TikTok dance challenges. But crucially, this was fueled by strategic partnerships with popular influencers on TikTok who created dances specifically for the hook.
Ah, so it brings multiple elements together.
Exactly. The key takeaway highlighted is that blend. AI helping with the initial creation, and then influencers acting as accelerators for virality on social media.
Okay, and the second case study, Echoes of the Street by Lyrica.
Lyrica's story, as presented in the article, really emphasizes the power of data. According to the source, she used data analysis pretty heavily to figure out what themes were trending and resonating with her target audience, things like social justice, personal empowerment.
Yeah.
So she crafted her lyrics specifically around those identified themes. And she also reportedly used predictive analytics to nail the timing of her release, aiming for when audience interest in related topics or maybe certain music styles was forecast to peak.
So hitting the right message at the right time based on data.
Exactly. This case really underscores using data not just for promotion, but for shaping the content itself and making strategic release decisions.
Looking even further ahead, beyond these current strategies, the article briefly touches on some future trends, things that could shake up viral music even more, moving deeper into 2025 and beyond.
Yeah, one potential disruptor mentioned is blockchain technology. The article suggests it could maybe revolutionize how artists get paid through things like smart contracts. These are like automated agreements on the blockchain that could ensure artists get paid instantly, transparently, every time their music is used or streamed.
Interesting.
It also mentions decentralized platforms, online spaces, not controlled by a single company, potentially giving artists more direct control and fostering fairer compensation models. A move towards more transparency.
And AI getting even smarter.
Definitely. The article forecasts enhanced AI integration, more sophisticated tools coming online, maybe AI that can detect emotional nuances in music or lyrics better, leading to smarter recommendations or more accurate predictions.
And those VR concerts we touched on.
Yeah, the prediction is they'll become more common, offering these really immersive global experiences, breaking down geographical barriers for fans and artists alike.
Lastly, the article notes something about sustainable and ethical practices becoming more important.
Yes, it brings that up as a kind of growing expectation from listeners. Artists who adopt, say, environmentally friendly practices in their production or touring, or engage in socially conscious initiatives, that can apparently boost their appeal, especially to younger, more conscious consumers. It's framed as something listeners are starting to value and maybe even demand.
So wrapping up this deep dive into Future Flow, wow. It becomes incredibly clear that making rap music go viral in 2025, it's way more than just dropping a great track and crossing your fingers.
Right. The source material really paints this picture of it being a highly strategic game.
Yeah.
Played right at the intersection of, raw creative talent, sophisticated tech like AI, deep data analysis, and really platform-specific marketing smarts.
It feels like AI and data are just woven into the entire fabric now, from the initial beat creation, maybe helping with lyrics, figuring out what themes connect, the exact moment to release, how you push it on socials.
Even how you interact with fans or design a live show.
Exactly.
Understanding the data, it's not really optional anymore, according to this source. It's how you stay relevant, how you actually connect with what listeners are looking for. And AI isn't just a novelty, it's becoming this integral tool. Enhancing efficiency, sure, but also opening up genuinely new, creative, creative and promotional possibilities.
It does make you wonder, though, doesn't it? I mean, in this landscape where algorithms and data are so powerful in deciding what gets popular, and AI can even co-write the music, how does an artist make sure their music still feels, genuinely them? Authentic, reflective of a unique voice, not just something perfectly optimized to tick all the algorithmic boxes.
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Yeah. It's definitely something for you, the listener, to think about as you navigate this world of music and media yourself. Whether you're just listening or maybe even creating, how do you balance optimization with authenticity?